The Taipan inland snake is probably the most toxic snake on the planet, but has no history of having ever killed a human in the wild. We'll talk about that and more fun Taipan snake facts as I sketch this little snake. So let's just turn the page and get started. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is 5:30 in the morning on a, goodness, is it Friday morning? On Friday mornings, I like to do a little thing where I pull a toy from the toy box, a random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier. Good morning, Rick. A random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier, and I like to draw it, and I like to talk about it. And today's random object from the Random Object Randomogrifier is a Taipan snake. Now, it doesn't specify, the model doesn't specify whether it is an inland Taipan snake or it is a coastal Taipan snake. It just says Taipan snake. Most of my facts bounce back and forth between the two because they both have some pretty interesting things about them. For instance, as I alluded to in the opening, the inland Taipan snake is probably the most toxic snake on the planet. It has enough venom in a single bite to kill 100 people. And it doesn't just bite once, it bites over and over and over. When it tries to bite, it bites over and over and over. Good morning, Adele. That which they believe that's an adaptation for making sure that the rarity of food in the outback doesn't get away from them. So when they're lucky enough to find some food, they want to make sure that they envenomate it and it dies and they eat it. And their venom is a threefold monstrosity. It has a neurotoxin in it, which damages your nerves, causes your nervous system to shut down. It has a hemotoxin in it, which destroys your blood vessels or your blood cells and stops your blood from being able to carry oxygen. And it has a myotoxin in it, which causes your muscles to break down and stop working. It has all three of those things, as if any one of them is enough to kill a mouse. But it didn't feel like stopping. It just said, you know what? I want all the poisons. I want all the. This morning. Good morning, Joe. Thank you.
It sounds grumpy. If you only knew.
But yeah, it decided it wanted all the poisons.
Oh my.
They are brown and black in the summer. I'm sorry, in the winter. They are brown and black in the winter, and then they are tan and olive in the summer. They actually change colors throughout the seasons to get the most benefit out of the sunlight, to maximize their use of sunlight for thermoregulation, to control their body heat. I moved my model. But as I alluded to earlier, they are not vicious. They are quite shy. They don't like to be around the peoples. The venom is precious to them, just like it is with all the other animals. The venom is precious to them, so they don't want to waste it on humans, because even though they can kill a human, they can't eat a human, and so it's a waste of the venom. So when confronted by people, the first thing they will try to do is escape. They will try to get away. Most wild animals will try to get away before they do anything else. First thing they want is to escape.
Good, they go their way, I'll go mine.
Absolutely. Having failed in their effort to escape, they will coil up and they will bang their tail like a rattle. They don't have a rattle, but they'll vibrate and make noises, and they'll bow up at you to frighten you in an effort to remind you that they are a snake. And if that doesn't shoo you off, then they will bite you.
But says he'll pass the danger noodle no matter how shy it is.
There you go. Danger noodle. Danger noodle, exactly. This is a danger noodle. But again, this is a very shy danger noodle. This one does not want to interact with you. If you pretend you don't see this danger noodle and wander it off, give it some distance and wander away from this danger noodle, this danger noodle will happily leave you alone. And you can happily coexist. Because it does not want anything to do with you. It is not vicious at all. Now, its cousin, the coastal Taipan snake, is not that way. The coastal one is long and skinny, which, when I read the descriptions of the snakes, the description of the coastal one actually fits this one better. Fits our model better. But again, the model doesn't say whether it is a coastal or whether it is a inland snake.
Adele says most snakes want nothing to do with humans. When bites happen because someone accidentally steps on the danger noodle.
That's exactly right. Most snakes want nothing to do with us. Most snakes will do everything they can to avoid us. I've got a friend. I should look up and see if Bill Flowers has drawn any of these. My friend Bill Flowers, I talk about him often. He's the snake artist on YouTube. He goes out into the wild. He and his lovely lady Jennifer are conservation artists. They both have come up working in the zoo systems in Australia, and Tasmanian devils are his pet project. But he really loves the herpetology also, and he will go out in the wild and he will look for the most dangerous critter he can find, and he will draw it. And he will lay down in the wilderness next to a rattlesnake, and he will draw that rattlesnake, doing his his dead level best to be still and not appear to be a threat to the rattlesnake, to make sure that the rattlesnake has whatever snake it is, whatever kind of snake it is. But when I saw him, it was a rattlesnake, because we were here in Texas and Oklahoma. He will make sure that the snake understands it has a way to escape, And if the snake gets away before he gets into position, he doesn't do anything to try to trap the snake, to give the snake a reason to bite him. But he does get right up within striking distance of the snakes. But he has an unnatural fear of squirrels. But in his defense, everything squirrel-sized in Australia is trying to kill you. Whereas I have an unnatural fear of garden hoses. Because they look like snakes to me. This is my favorite part of the process. Oh my goodness, did you see Ivy's video about me? She made a tortoise painting a turtle on canvas. She made an animation of a tortoise painting a turtle, and it's doing the shading part of the turtle, and it's looking back at the camera, and it's got a big white mustache, and it's looking back at the camera, and it says, "This is my favorite part." I probably never told you that. It's really very cute.
Joe said it was great.
It's really very cute. This particular snake is an elapid in the family. It's not a viper. All across Africa and Asia and Europe, you get vipers, and in the Americas, you get I guess it's a pseudo viper, a pit viper, not a true viper. It's a pit viper. Are the primary snakes, especially the venomous snakes, all across the rest of the world. But those snakes, vipers, never made it into Australia, and so you have these lapids that landed, and they differentiated into about 100 different species, which includes our little taipans here. There we go. Let me dry this real quick, and we'll come back and we'll add that color to it. I don't know if I remember Bob Jennings. My mom is talking about Bob Jennings at the Oklahoma City Zoo. Who was the guy that went on Johnny Carson all the time? I remember him. And of course, nobody can forget the crocodile hunter, Steve Irwin. Put some vermilion down for Pamela to warm this up. There was a guy by the name of Kevin Budden. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but Kevin in 1950 caught a coastal taipan in a laundry sack and managed to get it managed to bring it in for milking to create antivenom. And the thing bit him. And he died. Like the next day, he died. But his sacrifice was not in vain. They made an antivenom. It took him a few years. If it hadn't been for that snake was milked 6 times. And it got him enough antivenom to study. And the very first year, the antivenom was officially released in 1955, and it worked for all taipan snakes, not just the coastal taipan. It worked for all taipan snakes, and it was officially released in 1955. And in 1955, an 11-year-old boy was bitten by a coastal snake, and the antivenom was available to save his life. And so Kevin, while sacrificing himself to bring the snake in for milking and testing, he has still saved several lives. They used to have, prior to 1950, they would have between 5 and 11 deaths a year from people bitten by the coastal snake, not the inland snake, the coastal snake. And the antivenom has brought that down. They've had 5 people die since, I want to say, 2005. The antivenom has become so popular that since 2005 they've only had 5 people die. So the antivenom has been a huge success, all because of Kevin Budden's sacrifice. Kevin Budden, or Kevin Budden, and I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. He's probably considered a local hero, and I'm sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. Maybe some of our Australian viewers can clue me in on how to say it better. There we go. I like that. I'm gonna run with that. That's what I'm calling it. Let me dry that real quick, and then I think we can ink it. Alrighty. Kevin was only 20 when he performed his act of courage. So he gave up his life early for science. But the like I said, the coastal snake has bitten a lot of people in the wild. The inland snake, there's no record of anybody dying from being bitten by the inland snake in the wild. In the lab, people get bitten from handling. Kind of like Adele said, it's people doing things they're not supposed to be doing with the snakes. No means no. When the snake says no, no means no. They have a natural population control because there can only be enough snakes if there's enough food. And so the rain cycle controls the number of rats in a given season, and the number of rats control the number of snakes. And so they don't really reproduce on a wild scale because they can't outpace the rats. And while these guys are not considered endangered by any stretch of the imagination, nobody's ever counted them. Near as we can tell, nobody's gone out and tried to get a baseline count of how many of them there are. But there doesn't seem to be a shortage of them.
I don't even know how you count.
You know that scene in Robots? Have you ever seen the Disney movie Robots, where Robin Williams' character is trying to count the bad guys? And he's like, there's only 5 of us, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I counted that guy twice. You guys stop moving so I can count you. I don't know how you count anything you're running away from.
No, you're not going to stop. Look over your shoulder.
That's right. I don't know how you count anything you're running away from. What is today? Today is the 8th of May. So yeah, but the problem, going back to the rats thing, the problem is that when they build houses and they build roads and they cut off waterways, they start causing dents in the rat population. When they start causing dents in the rat population, they start causing dents in the snake population. There's areas like Victoria where these things are considered, they're functionally extinct in the area that they were in that area, but they're not. There's not any concern because they're not extinct, continent wide. They're just extinct in little pockets. But extinction in pockets means that the breeding population, the genetic flow can't flow naturally around the continent, and that eventually leads to differentiation, and that leads to more aggression in some snakes, less aggression in other snakes, pockets of toxicity. It changes the known status of these things. So it'll be interesting to see what that effect has in 1,000 years if anybody's still keeping track of it. And if we're all still here, I know I won't be, but if people in general are still here in 1,000 years to keep track of it, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So that is my Taipan snake. That is my version of it compared to the photograph. Let's see what it looks like compared to from my perspective. Let's see. Back. Okay, Joe says he's back. Bills are paid. He can recover from that horror watching me art. Thank you, Kevin, for your sacrifice. Mom says I did that yesterday, which is bill paying. I call it Mother's Day when I pay the bills because I pay them all. I pay all of them. Oh, you Joe. Rick said he did it the day before yesterday. I guess it must be time. I set my bills up. I have my income and my wife's income goes into an account we call the bill pay account, and it pays me an allowance into another account that I can access, and it won't affect whether or not the bills get paid. And my wife gets an allowance into an account that she can spend from, and it won't affect whether or not the bills get paid. And the bill pay is set up to automatically pay the bills. And so all I do is once a month to review the bills to make sure they're getting paid. And sometimes, things happen. But there's my snack from my perspective. But that frees me up from worrying about whether or not the bills are going to get paid, whether or not if I buy these art supplies, I won't be able to pay the bills. Tomorrow, what do we have tomorrow? I wonder what it could be. Oh, the suspense. The suspense. It's so exciting, the suspense. Oh my. That was loud. This is an Argentine horned frog. Now, the other day, I did a frog that was a Suriname horned frog, but I mislabeled it an Argentine horned frog. And so the other day I talked about the Argentine horned frog while I drew a Suriname horned frog. This is an Argentine horned frog. I'm going to talk about the Suriname horned frog, and I'm going to swap the audio. When I do the little mini videos, I'm going to swap the audio so that the Suriname horned frog audio goes with the Suriname frog, and the Argentine horned frog audio goes with the Argentine horned frog. So this is an Argentine horned frog. This is what we'll be drawing tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. Texas time. So you may want to set your notification bell so that you don't miss it. Dino chicken. Almost, Joe. I'm almost a dino chicken. There are days we get dino chickens. I'm about out of new things to draw, except that I went to the store. Oh no. We have bugs. We have primates. We have primates. We have bunnies. We have U.S. historical sites. We have some neat stuff coming up, all in the next couple of weeks. That's eventually I'm going to be to the point where I can go 2 years without ever having to draw the same thing twice. So guys, thank you so much for joining me. I do look forward to this every day when I get to art with my besties. It is my favorite time of the day. Just like last night on Thursday night was my favorite night of the week when I get to art with my besties. I do so enjoy it, especially when everybody shows up and we get some feedback going back and forth. It is a blast. I learned so much from you guys, and I have such a good time doing it. Be sure and tune in tomorrow. Same Artistic Biker time, same Artistic Biker channel. and then we dance. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing. Joe, thank you for coming. Rick, thank you for coming. Adele, thank you for coming. Mom and Dad, thank you so much for coming. Pamela, thank you for coming. We dance until somebody says they see me dancing. It gives you a chance to click the clicky thingies this way if you're on the horizontal, or this way if you're on the vertical. If you didn't notice, my shirt is covered in my artwork. Da, da, da. So that is very exciting for me. You guys have a fantastic day. The most important part about this is that I don't get